I haven't really been doing podcasts at all prior to, winning the Dude Grows Cup and these events. This is actually like the fourth one I've been on since the Dude Grows Cup. So I figured I better invest in a camera if I'm going to start going on these type of things.
100%, 100%, dude. You are now an award-winning cultivator, an award-winning grower. Man, that has to be an incredible
Well, I
feeling.
mean, I've been competing already locally here in Phoenix for a couple years, so I've won a few awards here
Good for you.
already. But yeah, it was nice to go out to another state and actually bring home a couple as well.
Yeah, it's funny you actually said that. I watched the interview you did with Banner and Grambo, and you mentioned
Oh,
that
nice.
this wasn't your first rodeo. So we're gonna get into all that and so much more. But before we do, real quick, if you could, who are you, and what do you do?
Hey, I'm Mark from Growfire Farms, award-winning cultivator from out here in Phoenix, Arizona. Have a very large passion for the plant, and I've dedicated my existence to it these last 4.5 years, and it's glad to see things paying off for me.
It's fair to say that it is paying off for you, man. This isn't your first rodeo either. As you just mentioned, you've been kind of competing for a minute, and you're kind of representing Arizona in the best light.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I started competing in the fall of 2023, which was just a little bit less than 2 years ago. And in that time, I've already took home 4 awards here in Arizona, and then I just went out to Colorado and won those two. So yeah, it's been a pretty magical couple years to say the least.
Magical to say the least. It was an absolute pleasure to be able to run into you at the DGC. I I wanted to have you on because I barely even had an opportunity to talk to you at the DGC because I didn't even roll in until the first day until about I think there was like 45 minutes left. And I think that was the first time you and I kind of saw each other for like a brief moment in time. So I wanted to make
That's good.
sure
Got there, yeah.
I just got there, man, and you had not claimed the second place prize for the flower at this time yet, if I'm not mistaken. The first time we ran into each other, it was the next time after the announcement that you took home second place for the flower cup, if I'm not mistaken. Correct?
Yeah, that's definitely correct. I definitely didn't expect to get that high of a finish. There were 69 entries. So for me to even be in the top 10, I would have been thrilled. I was definitely getting a little bit nervous when they were announcing those top 10 because, they were already down to the top two and I didn't hear my name yet. So I was like, well, maybe I didn't even make the top 10. But hey, it was nice to hear him call me at two. I was definitely super happy about it.
Dude, I can't imagine that feeling of hearing number five, four, three, and there's literally two options left, and then finally hearing your name. That's got to be pretty amazing feeling.
Oh, it was because, the events that I compete out here in Arizona, it's nothing like that. There's not really a crowd of people sitting there anticipating the results. There might be 10 or 12 people sitting there as they read them off. It was just a totally different experience to be out there at the Dude Grows Cup because of how involved everybody was. They opened it up to the public. So you have everybody who's been there sampling 69 jars all day long. And they're very invested to see if the one they voted for ended up winning. So everyone who comes to the event can't wait to hear the results. So that it was just amazing to have 400 or 500 people standing on dude's every word, as he was announcing the results. It was quite amazing to have 400 people roar whenever they called my name. I had never experienced anything like that in my life.
Dude, I have never experienced anything like that either. I couldn't imagine the rush, your heart pumping, hearing your name. Dude, that was unreal. And then to top it off, that was day one. That was the flower cup. The hash bash, day two, you took home number one. Number one for the hash bash. How did that feel, dude? Back to back?
Holy smokes, man! Yeah, that was even more unexpected because I mean, when it comes to rosin, I haven't been doing it very long. I just washed my first batch Christmas Eve that just passed like 6 months ago. This is like my fourth or fifth wash I've done. So to be able to get those type of accolades in such a short amount of time is unbelievable. Uh, and I definitely got to give a big shout out to Jeremy from Build the Soil. Him and Pedro put out a video a couple years ago where they were very detailed on how do you make good live hash rosin. When I first started, I followed that video from beginning to end. Every single step Pedro and Jeremy were showing me, that's what I did. And holy smokes, that thing worked out great because Pedro gave me some awesome advice and tutorial right there, and I kind of took it from there and ran with it.
Man, and boy, you did, and you picked the right genetic too. What was the genetic you used? Well, what would you win with the flower cup first or
Okay, the flower cup
second
was,
place?
yeah, second place I got with Super Boof.
That's right.
I've been running that. It's the mobile J cut. I've been running it for a couple years. It always comes out amazing. I got a stable of people that just really enjoy it, so I keep her around. And yeah, I figured, it was a standout as far as the terp profile on that. So I went ahead and entered that one. I had quite a few options, when it came to pick what I was going to submit for the cup, and I ended up settling on Super Boof just because it came out amazing that run. The Terps are always unique. I just wasn't quite sure what the crowd out there in Colorado was going to feel about it because some markets are more saturated with some other strains than others. But luckily, everybody dug it.
And you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And then day two, you won it with what for the hash bash? Won
That
it
was a
with what?
GMO.
That's
It
right.
was GMO. That's the Skunk Master cut. I've been running her for a couple years as well. You got to keep solid genetics in your garden that you know what you expect from, especially when you get into washing hash. If you're just popping random seeds and trying to wash that, you can get very minimal returns sometimes that make it a waste of time. So if I'm going to run something, especially for the purpose of making hash, I want to make sure that it's going to be not only, potent and beautiful as far as the terps go, but I want a nice yield too, or else I just feel like I'm kind of wasting a lot of product for a small return. So yeah, GMO is always a winner as far as hash rosin goes. And that one I actually grew outdoors and washed the whole plant. And I think the outdoor terps hit a little different.
Get out. I didn't know that, dude. I didn't know you ran your GMO outdoors.
Well, I mean, I run her indoors too, and
Sure.
I had a mother plant, and it came time to end her service, so I was either gonna have to throw her away or throw her outside, and it just so happened to be the time of year here in Phoenix. You can't really grow outside in the middle of the summer here very easily. It gets up to 118 degrees, and there's some people who pull it off with shade cloths and mulch over your topsoil layer and those type of things, but it's definitely a challenge to try to grow throughout the summer here in Phoenix. So I prefer to do my outdoor growing through the winter, and it gets down into the high 30s at times. It gets pretty cold, but the plants are able to persevere and push through. And I've gotten some really nice harvests on the side of my house all winter long the last couple of years.
Ain't nothing wrong with that, man. Ain't nothing wrong with that. So how long have you been in Arizona for?
Oh, I'm a native. I've been born and raised here. When you go walk around and you meet people, a lot of people aren't from here. They move here. So yeah, I'm definitely a native, born and raised here in Phoenix.
Okay, okay. I didn't know that either. I got to be honest with you. I, you were not even on my radar. With all due respect, the world is just so vast right now in our space. Until the Dude Grows Cup, until you came up to us and introduced yourself, I had no idea who Growfire Farms was, and boy was I
Hey,
missing out. Okay, that was to my
yeah, I
bet.
don't blame you for that. I'm a small boy on the block. I'm just barely starting to make a splash, and it's just amazing that guys like you and Rob and Chris even know that I exist now. So I
Dude,
couldn't be more pleased.
it's because of your hustle, man, and because of what you're doing. You are making a splash, brother. You're making a splash, and that's the best thing. It's like if you want to be a part of the movement, the community, the plant, it's like just double down on your passion, be consistent, and just and believe in yourself, man. And honestly, it's like listening to you, it's like your passion is very evident. Your desire to understand the plant is very clear. So it's like it's no surprise to me that you have found great success and are going to continue to find great success. My question is, as an Arizona native, what's it like? Because I don't believe it's the most friendly. Arizona's been the most friendly towards cannabis for very long. So it not only enlightened me in terms of what it's like to be in Arizona while it's prohibited, but what was it like growing up in weed in Arizona?
I mean, growing up in Arizona, I started smoking weed in the 90s. I'm probably dating myself a little bit, but yeah, I was smoking nothing but dirt weed from Mexico back in the early days. It would come in bricks. sometimes it'd be a pound that would be compressed to the size of a DVD case, like no shit. So and it would all be all these broken seeds all up in there because when they compress that cannabis, it crushes all the seeds. All this weed was just full of seeds. It was insane. So yeah, I definitely don't miss those days. Growing up, and like I said, we're so close to Mexico. They were bringing that over, through all the tunnels that El Chapo had and all that.
Yep.
So, but as time went on, the weed definitely got better, but it was also very expensive. So, but now eventually, they changed the laws out here, and about close to 5 years ago, they made it legal for everyone to cultivate. And prior to that, it had already been, recreationally legal and medicinally legal for quite a while. But once they made it legal for cultivation, it changed the game because, it allowed a lot of us guys that have, a love for this plant and a passion for it to actually, grow it without fear of prosecution or incarceration, which was a big thing that was scaring a lot of us away. We got kids, we got families, we got lives. I'm not trying to have, people come in and shoot my dogs because I'm growing, cannabis. So it was definitely nice to have Arizona make it legal for us to actually be able to cultivate. And I jumped right on it as soon as they made it legal, and I've been going hard ever since, man.
It's the way to do it, man. That's the way to do it. You probably when did they go legal for for cultivation?
I want to say it was January of 2021.
Okay, so
So
it's
that's
been a minute. It's been a few years
yeah,
then.
yeah, and they made it to where you can grow six per adult, no more than 12 per household. So, it's a decent amount of plants. It's not really enough plant count to be able to keep a large stable of, keepers and then go on these large scale pheno hunts. That a lot of us growers, I would love to be able to pop 100 seeds, take clones off of them, and find these amazing outliers. But with these limited plant counts, you you basically have to stick to the script and just keep maybe one or two keepers that you want to run cuts off of, and make sure. I mean, for me, I love running seeds, but I also love knowing what I'm going to get at the end, because there's been so many times where I'll pop a pack of seeds, like maybe a 6 pack, and really only like one or two of them, and then you got four phenos that you really don't really care for. So, I go back and forth, but I have a couple keepers. The main two I've been working with lately is the GMO and the Super Boof. So that's what I brought with me to Colorado.
And I'm so glad you did, man. GMO is one of my favorite genetics. It's just one of those old, for me, it's one of those old ones that I can constantly rely. It's not that old, but it's one that I can rely on. It's one that hits every time. It's got the terps that I'm looking for. Like GMO is a favorite of mine. Are those the terps that you enjoy particularly? Like those
Oh yeah,
mushroom. Oh yeah.
GMO is definitely an all-time favorite of mine as well. I don't think I'll ever get rid of that one, just because, yeah, whether you grow it for flower or hash rosin, the end product is always amazing. I mean, the flower is just like the most foul, grotesque, but beautiful at the same time smell you've ever had in your life. And and the way she washes is amazing. The returns you get. So between the quality of the product and then the way that she yields, not only with rosin, but whenever you're growing her for flower, she's filling up that tank and giving you quite a bit of weight compared to, some other strains you might be running out there. So yeah, between the yield and the quality, it's an amazing strain. I don't think it's going anywhere anytime soon. So many people have the cut; it ain't gonna ever be lost. I imagine that's gonna be a staple for eternity.
I couldn't agree more, man. I couldn't agree more. It speaks to me on like every it kind of checks every box for me. I just feel like if I could get stuck on an abandoned island with only one genetic, if it was GMO, I think I would be okay. I'd be able to figure out all my other problems.
Oh yeah, sign me up for that one too. If I'm stuck on an island, I'll take some GMO too. But yeah, the only thing I will say, the 12-week flower time is a
I
little bit of a drag,
was
but
just gonna ask you that.
besides that, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, that's one thing I was just gonna ask you for. Is yours 12 weeks?
I usually take her like at flower about 80 days.
Okay.
You can take her, up to 12 weeks. That's just 4 more days. And but yeah, 80 days she's usually good to go. And if you want to, wash her, you want to take her a little bit earlier than that, just because, otherwise your trichome heads might get a little darker on you and your rosin might look a little darker, but it'll still be fire. But usually if you're going to run it for rosin, you'll take her, at least by day 70, maybe 10 days earlier.
Yeah, yeah. We've got a Rob, Chris, and I. We did our FTS Swank collab, and it's got GMO in it. And I'm kind of actually surprised that I'm pushing week 9, like week 9, week 10, and she's kind of finishing. So I was like, ooh, I will take this. I'll take a 10, 11 over a 12, 13 any day to save a little bit of time because, I don't know about
You're
you.
running from Steve, right?
Clone. I went.
Oh, okay. So if you got the real cut of GMO and she's finishing that quick for you, man, you're doing something good over
Well,
there. Cause yeah,
no, I don't. I didn't get anything. I have so ours is it's a GMO cut through 808 Genetics is fire shit, and
okay,
then it was crossed with Swank Genetics is cut of frosted lemonade, and then so those two gave us our collab, and then we're
nice.
growing that one out from seed. But I've got them from clone because I'm doing a mom trying to pheno hunt and so on and so forth. Because you're right, as a home grower, it's like you're kind of limited to space and you're kind of limited to what you can work on because I can't have 100 seeds. Even if I had a plant count of 100 seeds as a home grower, I'm working out of my basement, dude. So it's like, how would I manage 100 seeds? It's like kind of unfathomable. So you're kind of just finding something that works for me and speaks to me, and inevitably that's going to take a little more time because I got to pop less seeds. It's a little frustrating, but it's still an adventure. It's still a journey I enjoy.
But yeah, every time I pop a pack of seeds, it's like the unknown. It's like a box of chocolates or a lottery ticket. You never know what you're gonna get.
Yeah.
A lot of times, it might not be something you're really in love with, but those times that you find something amazing, it really does make it all worth it. Because I went on no large scale pheno hunts, but I'll pop a 6 pack of seeds, take cuts of all of them, flip them, and I found some really nice keepers that way. I got a Runts Cross. It's a Dips. It's called Dips from Exotic Genetics. I hunted a 6 pack of that. I found a keeper. I've been running her for a couple years. I also hunted a 6 pack of some fritter fuel from my buddy Spaceman Seed Company. I found a nice keeper in that. I've been running for a couple years, and I've actually won a couple awards here locally with both of those strains. So it's nice whenever you find something from seed that's different that nobody else has that stands out when you enter these competitions.
Yes, yes. Having one that stands out in a competition like the DGC where you had 69 flower entries, I was saying, in order to get anywhere close to the top, you had to have something that was not only incredibly flavorful, because it had to be flavor, it had to speak over everything else. Either A, it had to speak over everything you had already had, or it had to speak over everything you were gonna have. And at 69 entries, it's kind of tough. Not only that, is it either A, had to get you high enough, like you had to be high enough that you felt it going in, or and had to be a high that you remember. You know what I mean? Like it was just like you did it. You checked those boxes because as someone, I didn't get to try the flower, but I can only compare because I did do the hash rosin or the hash bash. It was a lot. It was a lot of dabs to try to just take it all in. Did you smoke much or like sample?
Oh, yeah, the first day I definitely went around. I basically inspected all 69 jars. I walked
Attaboy.
around all the tables. It was I know I didn't smoke all 69 jars. I would go around, crack it, look at it, see how it looked, how it smelled. If it was, looked amazing to me, then I would smoke it because I can't smoke 69 jars. So I narrowed it down to probably like my top 20 that I was impressed with. And I didn't like smoke a lot of it. I just had a little glass pipe. I'd load a bowl up in it, and then me and my cousin would pass it back and forth and just take a couple rips, and then we would talk about it and see what he thought, what I thought, and usually we were both right about on point about what we thought, which ones were the amazing ones and which ones were lacking in some areas. But there was definitely a lot of quality flower out there. I put my nose in a lot of jars and was very impressed. And once I started, really going through and looking at them, I didn't really think I stood that much of a chance because there was just so much quality weed. But at the end of the day, I knew that the terp profile on the Super Boof was so unique that it was gonna kind of make some people take notice.
It not only have some people take notice, I Rob was talking about your super boof before you had won the competition. He was talking about your stuff before that, and so it was definitely hitting the note. Like it definitely talked to the people that were interested. So yeah, you checked that box, dude. People were talking about it, and I think that's key. You know, I think that's important. Um,
What's funny about that is I know for sure that Rob doesn't like Super Boof. He made a whole video about how he doesn't like that terp profile, and I get it because I've got some people in my circle that just aren't about that terp profile either.
yeah.
But overall, it's definitely a crowd pleaser with some people who just really aren't into it.
Yes, yeah, I should be very clear about that. Yeah, that's it's not his genetic, it's not his terps. But the thing is that I'm the same way with the citrus. I really don't like citrus weed. I just find like it's a very I'm just not a fan. It doesn't matter. I kind of it just lingers in your throat too much, and it's just something that I don't enjoy. However, that doesn't mean if I don't smell like as soon as I smell it, I know it's got that citrus hit, right? You know, you smell it, you're like, oh, okay, I know you're gonna be that limonene heavy. When I go to smoke it and I can taste it, I don't like it. It doesn't mean it's not good. It's to the contrary, dude. It's like if I hit it and I don't like it, you nailed it. You nailed it because that means you're hitting this terp so well that I'm like, no thanks, dude. This is not for me. It's that strong citrusy terp. Don't like it. It's that orange in particular. Um, so yeah, just because and Rob in particular with the Super Boof, just because we don't like it doesn't mean you cannot speak to the fact that it is loud and it hits. It's powerful. So even when you got your critics speaking that's a win, dude. That's a win.
Yeah, yeah, I was definitely impressed that he would give it some sort of props, knowing that he does not care for that type of weed, but he could tell that it was grown well, and
Of course.
everybody appreciates quality flower regardless of if it might not be your favorite strain or whatever.
Yeah, unless you live on Twitter. And then it's just
Yeah.
yeah, a lot of hate on there. A lot of negativity, maybe not hate, negativity. It thrives over there. Are you over there?
I started an account just because IG police can be crazy sometimes. So everyone was saying, move over to Twitter, move over to Twitter. So I started an X account, but I'm not active at all. I haven't really done much over there. I don't spend much time on there at all. I probably should, but I spend most of my time on Instagram.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what? I it's a double-edged sword, man, because yeah, I get it. You want exposure. You want to be able to put our face, as a brand in as many eyes as possible. And, Instagram is just so frustrating in regards to trying to I've personally never had my account deleted. I've had my content restricted to just followers, which is kind of okay to me. But other than that, I've never really been censored, so I can't really speak to it. But they're very censor heavy, man. And but X in regards to cannabis is not censor heavy. They in fact don't care at all, which is kind of nice. The problem is you've got to deal with an abundance of just negative, just all the time negative shit. Always, it seems polarizing content does well over there.
Yeah, for the most part, from what I've found on Instagram, most people are very positive. I don't really have haters popping on my page, running their mouth or anything crazy. Anybody that follows me is usually showing nothing but love on Instagram.
Yeah, Instagram is nice. No, there is no, or at least I don't. You'll get the odd troll here and there, but no, generally speaking, it's Instagram's pretty safe. It's just it's the shadow, but it's the deletion, the rule enforcement that always kind of gets us in the industry for some reason. Um,
It's so strange too because you'll see some guys posting pictures of plants left and right for years, and they don't get any type of ban or any type of suspension. But then if somebody else does it one time, and now your account's deleted.
yeah, I don't get it either, man. Yeah, I have no
Totally
idea.
random.
I have no idea how it works. You kind of just got to figure your way around it and kind of move with the kind of roll with the punches, as they say.
Yeah,
Now,
but
as you mentioned earlier, winning or having an award or having award-winning weed is not new for you, man. You've been doing this in Arizona for a few times. How many wins do you have under your belt altogether?
altogether, counting the two I just got out in Colorado, I have six. I got four of them out here. I actually have, if you see right there, I got three medals. That's from the Earl Cup out here in Phoenix. That's two silvers and a bronze. And then right there is actually I won the first place in hybrid last fall. So that was pretty exciting for me at the time. And then of course, that's the Dude Rose Cup trophy, and then over there is my Hash Bash trophy. So yeah, that's six of them all together. I'm pretty pleased.
That is incredible, dude. That speaks to something, man. So good for you, man. Good for you. Uh, in Arizona, what's it like to? You said it was a little bit smaller pace, but what's the competitions like? Because frankly, in Canada, I don't really know of any competitions that are happening. So the fact that you get to participate in anything is pretty cool. Walk us through like what it's
Yes.
like to participate in a competition in
Well,
Arizona.
the main competition that I've competed out here in Phoenix is called the Earl Cup. It's been going on for, geez, probably over a decade by now. Uh, Now they have a lot of different categories and classifications because not only do home growers enter into this competition, but also a lot of the dispensary brands will enter into the competition as well. So they keep them in different categories. The home growers have their own category, and the dispensaries get their own category, and they break them up into hybrids, indicas, sativas, and then they'll have first, second, and third for all three of those categories. Um, Now the Earl Cup is great, but there's a new event in town that's kind of taken over that's becoming the cool thing. It's called the Arizona Garden Classic. We actually have a cool little consumption lounge here called the High Lounge, and it's out in Tempe on Mill Avenue, right by ASU. And the guy Jason who owns it's hella cool. He throws a lot of events up there to help promote us local growers, and where we get to meet up there and kind of hang out, get to know each other, trade some herbs, smoke some doobies, and just have a good time up there. Well, he's throwing these events every couple months. He just had Volume One. Actually, the Thursday I got back from Colorado after I won the DGC Cup and the Hash Bass, because it was amazing to go to the event here, 4 days after I got back and get to see all the local growers, that I'm cool with. And a lot of them I didn't really know yet, but a lot of them I did. And I got many congratulations at that event. But yeah, basically that event is a little bit different. It's definitely pretty something cool too. Uh, each grower turns in 2 ounces of flour. They bag, and then each grower gets to get 28 mylar bags that you put 2 grams of flour in each one. Those 28 grams get distributed to 28 judges. That each judge gets a box with 2 gram sample from every grower, and then they get to take that box home and sample it, take notes for about 2 weeks, and then they have to turn their scorecards in to Jason, and then Jason tallies the score, announces the winner. They actually have a really cool belt that like the WWE have and stuff for the winner, and you actually win a nice little cash prize. I think last time it was almost $1,200 to the winner. So yeah, that event is really something I'm looking forward to. We got another one coming up in August that I'm going to be entered into. And what I like about that event is they mix both the dispensary brands and the home growers together. I don't want us to be separated. I want to go against the dispensaries because I feel like, hey, that's bragging rights. If you can take down all these major brands that got product on the shelves, I think that's even just better.
I agree, dude. That's kind of like um that's kind of like some bragging rights, total bragging rights. Exactly like you said, domination. It's like craft cannabis or like the little guy is always going to be, in my opinion, better than the commercial stuff, mainly for quality assurance.
Surprised though, a lot of the bigger brands in town ended up beating a lot of us home growers. There was two guys that were home growers that actually finished up near the top. Shout out my buddy Peach Grows AZ. He was at the Dude Grows Cup as
Yep.
well. He finished in fifth place. Finished ahead of a lot of really good growers and finished ahead of a lot of quality brands that are out here on the dispensary shelves here. And then another guy that finished up really high was AZ Night Garden. So yeah, both of those guys did really well the last Arizona Garden Classic, and I'm looking forward to getting up a little higher this next one coming up.
Man, I'm actually quite envious that you get to participate in all of these events because I said just before you went on that discussion there that Canada doesn't have any cups. That's not true. We do have cups, and we've had cups because I know that John Burfello, he's an award-winning grower as well out of BC, and I know he's won cups in Canada. It's just I'm from the middle of nowhere, so I never hear about any of this stuff. So I'm envious of you that you got to kind of do these kind of events and participate like this, man, because we don't all get to do that, and it's a great way to
Yeah, it's
represent.
definitely cool. I'm glad that these type of platforms exist, you know, because otherwise, you know, you grow quality cannabis, you share it with your friends and family.
Hmm.
Everybody really enjoys it, and to me, that would have been enough. But to actually get to go out and compete in these type of events and get recognition and accolades from your peers is pretty cool. And I'll never stop competing as long as I'm growing, just because I love the feeling, you know, even if you don't win, you know, going to these events and meeting all these people and just having a good time is worth the trip to me every time.
I totally agree, man. I totally agree. And to slap hands and to meet the people, and man, I met so many incredible people at the DGC, and dude, winning some awards is going to open doors for you and get you, some recognition you deserve, man. Uh, so it's like, it's a good thing. It's a good thing to be able to compete, and it's an entirely different thing too to be able to put yourself out there, man. I can't really relate in terms of putting myself out there in competition, but I put myself out there in the internet, and there's enough criticism there, man. And or not criticism, but vulnerability. So for you to go into a competition, not just not just in a state that you've been winning in, but to take it across the country to a different state. And I guess is Arizona. I guess it's not. They're are they? They're almost touching. So, anyways,
Well, we kind of are, you know, we got the four corners. We're touching on the corner right there just a little bit.
so you're taking it. You're taking it across the country. I don't even care. You're taking it to another state, and you're still making a splash. And that takes some kahunas, man. Like to be able to just do it and to face that
Yeah, and
kind
it
of
was.
criticism.
I didn't even have anybody who could make the trip with me. I went there out there all alone. Luckily, I had a cousin who lived out there in Greeley. I didn't really get a chance to grow up with them, so I didn't know him very well. But I reached out to him and let him know, hey man, I'm coming to Colorado for this event. We should link up. And we did. We linked up, and he hung out with me basically the whole weekend. And I got to know him really well. He's a solid dude, and now I'm real close with my cousin as a result of that trip. So, you know, an extra added bonus on top of everything.
Yeah, that's it, man. Any time quality spent is worth it, dude. Worth it. So, one thing I want to ask, man, award-winning style. What is your preferred growing method?
I definitely am a cocoa grower. I use synthetic nutrients. You know, I know a lot of these organic guys. You know, they don't really, they're not too fond of that. But I think that there's a lot of different ways that you can produce quality cannabis, so long as you dial in your regimen, whether it be with organics or with some sort of synthetic nutrients. You're able to have good success with either method. I mean, there's a lot of different ways to grow this plant, and I just happen to have one method that's dialed in pretty well, and I stick to it. You know, if you made me grow organics, I'm sure I would struggle mightily, but you give me some cocoa and some synthetic nutrients and a drip system, watch me go. You know,
That's it, man. Find your stride and run with it, dude. Run with it, and it's clear it's working for you, man. What are you using for nutrients?
I'm running the complete line. I mean, a lot of people hate on it. They say it produces cardboard terps. You can't grow anything but mids with it. Athena blended, man. I run the complete line of Athena. Uh, I see a lot of people, you know, bad mouthing it. I don't get anything from them. I'm not sponsored by them, but I do use their nutrients, and I've won every single one of these awards behind me with those nutrients. So I mean, I'm happy with them, and I don't have any plans of switching it up anytime soon.
If winning awards doesn't account for something, dude, nothing does, man. Nothing does. And so I think, words are one thing, but actions are another. And I think actions say it all, man. Like you're winning, dude. You're winning. And I've heard quality things about the Athena blend. I know that my boy Troy, Northern Scrogger, he runs Athena. Um, my only not I guess the only it's not even criticism, it's just it's very important when you follow Athena is that you just to follow the regiment, and really that's not even specific to Athena, that's really any nutrient line. Is if you want to follow what the results that they've succeeded with and that they've received, follow the regiment, follow the plan, follow the recipe, because that's what's going to do it for you. So yeah,
And not only that, they have,
go ahead.
you know, a lot of detailed instructions on how to strategize your fertigations. You want to be able to hit it multiple times a day in a smaller pot. Get the multiple feedings and multiple drybacks. Uh, and timing all that is important. You don't want to just randomly throw darts at your irrigation strategy. So they have a lot of information out there. You can get the whole handbook where they'll walk you through everything. And yeah, so long as you stick to the script. I mean, I vary off of it a little bit here and there, but man, I can't really say I do much else. I'm not doing anything special. I follow the Athena plan. I'm with the program. I dial in my environment. I cure my weed properly, and I'm happy with the results.
Dude, and there's nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? It's like there's something to be said about following a plan and sticking to it. My boy Rob, Mr. ROB CLTV, he's got a tattoo on his arm that says consistency over time equals results. And I feel like the only way you're going to see those results is consistently repeating what's working for you. For me, it's like I start to if I start to deviate from the plan, I start to incorporate more variables, and then now there's more things to go wrong. So I agree with you that I just think you're doing the right idea. Follow the plan, and you said that if anyone's got a problem with that, it's like you've got 6 awards behind you, and you said you did them all with this recipe, so something's working for you, dude. And yeah, keep repeating it. Keep repeating it.
Thank you for that. Yeah, it definitely puzzles me, all the bashing I hear on Athena. And it kind of at the same time makes me happy. Hey, keep thinking it's trash. Don't use it. I'll keep using it and we'll win these awards. I mean,
These are the results. Yeah, it's like this is your if this is gonna be my secret, then it's my secret. So be it. It's like a secret fishing hole that everybody knows about, but nobody chooses to go to, I guess.
yeah, because they think they can't catch no fish there.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Needless to say, here you are catching fish. Here you are catching fish. What's your okay? So I am not familiar with the regiment with Athena. In fairness, I'm actually not familiar with Athena at all, other than just the fact that their system exists. What's your feeding schedule look like?
I mean, I've definitely played around with it. I don't follow their feeding schedule to a T. Uh, they set it up with like what they call P1, P2, P3, and P4. So I believe what if you go by their handbook, you'll do like 4 fertigations a day. Uh, I don't know if that's 100% correct, but that's just about the way I remember reading it. But there's a lot of guys that'll hit it, double that amount of times. It just depends on, a lot of different factors. But the way I've been doing it lately is I just been hitting it 3 times a day, about 4 times, 3 or 4 hours apart while the lights are on. Until it runs off. Then over the course of the next, 3, 4 hours, it's in such a small pot that it's going to dry back already. Then I'm able to fertigate it again. So the last couple of runs, I just been hitting it 3 times a day. Versus, back in the day, I would hit it like close to 8 times a day, just in smaller shots.
And what are you using as your fertigation system?
I have a 30-gallon trash can I use as a reservoir.
Hell yeah.
And then inside that, I have a submersible pump that feeds into the PVC that runs to all my drip lines. It's the Floraflex drip system. And yeah, it's been working wonderfully. I have that hooked up to the AC Infinity smart plug where I can program all my intervals and how often I want it to kick on.
Smart.
And yeah, it's been working out great. The only problem is in one of my tents, I have this submersible pump that keeps like frying my smart plug. I've had to buy like 4 smart plugs. I'm getting ready to buy a new pump because it's stacking up all these new smart plugs I'm having to buy. I don't know what's wrong with that pump.
Oh damn. Yeah, that sucks, dude. I can't I don't know what it would be. Maybe it's just like the amps are different or something. I have no idea. I'm not an electrician or
Oh, it's really bad too because when it goes out, the pump will kick on, but it will never kick off. So it'll run that reservoir until it runs dry, and my whole tent is overflowed every time the damn
damn.
smart plug gets fried. So yeah, it definitely sucks.
That's a piss off, dude. Yeah, that's a huge piss off. How many hours are you letting so 3 times a day you were 8? What's your intervals?
Like my lights turn on about 5:50 exactly here in Phoenix, and then I have my first fertigation at 7, then my second fertigation at 11, and then my third and final fertigation will be at 3. Basically every 4 hours apart, and then at 5:50 a.m. the lights go off, and then they're able to, drive back by the time the lights come back on the next day, and then the cycle continues.
I love to hear that, man. You've got to figure it out, dude. How often are you in the garden? Like a day, give or take.
I mean, honestly, like the garden is my man cave too. Like I finished out my garage. I got my man cave and three tents in there. So I'll go up in there and hang out, watch some TV, play some video games. I got a pool table in there. I got dartboard. So I might be in, the garden area a lot of the time because it's my man cave. But I'm not working in there more than an hour or two, here or there a day when I got to get in there and do defoliating or mix my res or take some clones. But yeah, honestly, with the irrigation system set up, it's pretty hands off. The main things that I hate, or I don't hate, but the main things that are a lot of work are the defoliating these tents. When you're scrogging out a 4x8 and you got that thing cubed out, to get in there and defoliate it and keep your airflow right and your light penetration right, it can be quite difficult to get and reach those spots. So what I actually did my last run, I'm pretty happy with. I built like a rolling dolly that I can put my tent on, so I can just pull my whole tent away from the wall, get around behind it, and then get those leaves that are hard to reach from, reaching all the way across your tent.
Dude, you put the tent on a dolly, bro?
Well, I mean, what I did was I just went and bought a 4x8 sheet of plywood.
Uh huh.
All that's the exact size of my 4x8 tent. And then I went and bought some 2x4s, 8 foot, and went all the way around. I built like a nice little picture, like a furniture dolly, that just rolls
Yes.
around with four wheels on the bottom. But it's huge. It's 4x8, and it's underneath my 4x8 tent, so I can pull it away. Because I was having so much problems trying to reach them back corners when I was defoliating.
My God, dude, that's genius. Yeah, that's brilliance, dude. That's brilliance. I thought putting the plant pots on trays with wheels was genius enough. Putting the whole damn tent on wheels, dude. I never even thought about that. That's like the next big thing. Wait for it. Extra $100 to your next tent purchase because you recommended or you started putting tent wheels on the bottom of tents.
And it's pretty amazing. The only thing that I got the reservoir hooked up, I got the exhaust piped out, so I really only pull it away on reservoir change days, once a week, because otherwise you got to disconnect your res and water starts squirting everywhere. So I really only like to do it on res change days. I'll pull it away, I'll get behind the tent, I'll clean up what I need to clean up. But besides the res, I just got to disconnect my exhaust real quick, which is just like one little strip of duct tape that I use to hold it on there. So it just takes a minute, and I'm able to pull it away and get back there. It's definitely way better than I used to have to do it.
Yeah,
I'm
dude.
not a small guy. I'm not so nimble. So for me to have to reach across a 4x8 tent to defoliate was a struggle a lot of the time.
Man, I get it. I get it. I am a little guy. I am pretty nimble, and I still struggle with trying to get back behind there. And not to mention, it's like once you move that tent, it's like you can now get access to just areas you wouldn't regularly have access to. The back corners of my tent, on the outside, like on the outside of the tent, there's so much dirt, probably dog hair and grime that's collected over there that I can't get with the vacuum. So just even moving it 2 inches away from the wall so I can get the vacuum nozzle back there would be huge, man. So yeah, I really actually like that idea, and I might very well use it. So
As
it's
long as you got the room out in front, a couple feet to pull it out, why not? If I mean, some people don't have the space. You just got the tent crammed in the corner, so there's no room to pull it out. But luckily I had the space.
yeah, I've got a little bit of space in front too, so I can just pull it out a little bit. It's genius. Won't work for everybody, but that's just like all parts of gardening. Doesn't work for everybody. One thing that you mentioned that I kind of enjoy is that your man cave is inside with the tents. That's wicked, dude. You have a man cave, first of all, so I know you have a family. You did already mention that you had kids because you were worried about growing, prohibition days, and things to lose. What's your family life like? You do have kids, yes?
Well, yeah, I have one son. He is now 26 years old, so
Oh my
he doesn't
God,
really
dude.
need me as much anymore. But he still lives with me, so he's actually in the very next room from me, right there, probably playing Call of Duty or something.
Oh, let's go.
But yeah, I love him. He's a good dude. He's working in the electrical trade. He goes out there and sweats his ass off out in this Arizona sun every day.
My man, dude, Mark, you look great to have a 20. You said 26.
Well, I started pretty early, but yeah, I appreciate that, man. Yeah, I'm definitely in my mid 40s.
Hell yeah, and you look great, dude. Good for you, man. And
Thank you, thank
yeah, be proud of that, man. Yeah, be proud. And I think it's, I think it's admirable to be able to run a garden, run a family, run a real life and a business, all of that on top of each other. It's like, man, it's not easy at all. Where do you find time? What's your where do you like where do you find time? Do you have a place of peace? You
Um,
schedule it?
the garden is my place of peace. I do it all this in my spare time. I work basically 50 hours a week at a full-time job. So anything that I do in the garden is done in my spare time. Maybe one day I'll be able to do, some sort of cannabis work, but for now, I got a decent little gig where I'm at, and cannabis doesn't, pay the bills. It's just a passion of mine. So, uh, but yeah, for now, I'm just continuing to work, continuing to grow this plant, and hopefully continue to have success.
Well, you're gonna, man, and you know what? With the genetics and winning the cups, man. To say that cannabis as a career or as a business for you is not in your future, would be crazy, man. I 100% think that somebody with your skill level and your passion, it's already proven, man, should 100% try to find a way that you can get your genetics to the world, because I know I would love to grow them, and I know I don't speak for myself when I say that there's probably a number of other people that would love to be able to get their hands on award-winning genetics, particularly those GMO terps, dude.
Yeah, for real. So I've actually, when I was at that Garden Classic a couple weeks ago, when I got back from Denver, I was approached by a gentleman who has a facility here in town, and he has it's a giant warehouse with 31 rooms built out within it. And he was trying to get me to come down and set up a meeting and a tour to see about maybe renting one of those rooms at the facility. Uh, but the thing that scared me away was he's like, "Yo, it's fully outfitted. You don't need to install any equipment." Uh, I mean, what I mean, yeah, the rent on that place would be bananas. He wants 2 months rent up front for me to get the building. So I mean, I got to find the right situation that's going to work for me, because I'm not going to, invest every dollar I have in my life into, something like that I'm not sure if it's going to end up working out. If somebody really believed in me and was willing to, put me on, and we could work out a fair deal to where at the end of the day we both got something that was worth our troubles, yeah, that would be amazing. But for me to have to financially back everything, yeah, I don't think that's ever going to happen.
No, I personally don't think that that's a great idea at all, and I think your gut is very important, and it's definitely something that you should listen to. I feel like we know best, and sometimes our head and our emotions kind of get caught up in things, but it's like our gut kind of knows. And unfortunately, with like, I don't want to bring any gloom to anyone's bubble, but there are so many sharks in this game, dude, that are just looking for an opportunity for us or somebody to just waver and to give up money. And it's just like there's a lot of people that want your cash, and
Yeah.
you got to be careful. You got to be careful. And I'm not saying that this deal that you're looking at wasn't or isn't a good idea. I'm just, there's a lot of sharks out there, man, and I think your work speaks for itself. And yeah, I think the idea that you have, that if looking for a fair partner is definitely reasonable, dude. And I your genetics speak for themselves. Someone's gonna know that.
Yeah, man, it'd be wonderful to be able to actually, make a living off of cannabis, because it is truly my passion and what I enjoy to do. For now, the 9 to 5 is getting it done. But if I could ever make, a substantial, I mean, not even nothing really substantial, just a decent living to where I could maintain my life, yeah, I'd be more than happy to jump to some sort of situation in the cannabis field. But then at the same time, I start thinking about, would I start losing my passion if it turned into a job like that? Which I really don't think I would, because I would be so ecstatic at the opportunity I had in front of me. I would probably pour every ounce of my energy into it. But like I said, I do this in my spare time. So I wouldn't really be able to say for sure until I put myself in that position. But I would definitely be up for the task if the situation was right.
Good. I'm glad to hear that, dude. And the world works in mysterious ways, my friend. And I'm telling you, opportunity comes knocking all the time. So yeah, I'm glad that you're open to the opportunity, but I'm glad you've got a leveled head, dude. And that's you can't learn a level head. So that's gonna go a long way. And I'm excited. I'm excited to hear that.
Heck
Uh,
yeah, man! I'm excited. You're excited.
Good, good. Because as someone who has turned the cannabis industry, or like I have turned this into a job, into a career, and it is possible. And when I hear you say it's like, you are a little concerned that the flame will go out. That's with anything that you love, anything that you're passionate about. I think dark clouds happen. That's a reality. But it's very important to know that there's always sunny days, right? And working for yourself has ups and has down. It has a ton of insecurity, but so does working for somebody else. It has ups, it has downs, and at the end of the day, it's got a ton of insecurity too. Your job's not guaranteed tomorrow, no matter who you are, right? So sometimes it's obviously going to be scary, but it's worth jumping in and diving in because it's a beautiful place. And I know that you've surrounded yourself with great people and a good network, and a good community comes from that, man. So yeah, it's definitely worth it. I guess if one of my rambles are supposed to mean anything at all.
No doubt. I look forward to any type of those opportunities that come my way. I'm waiting for the right one. I'm not going to jump on one that's going to jeopardize any type of my well-being or my lifestyle. So, uh, yeah, hopefully, somebody comes and knocking. I'll be waiting.
Dude, I love to hear that. I love to hear that. One thing you kind of dove in with Grambo and with Banner was how you got into the DGC community and how you got into growing. Uh, Talk to me about that. How did you get into growing, and then B, how did you get into finding a community online?
Well, like I said, it went legal in 2021, the January of that year, and so yeah, I jumped right on it when it was growing. I bought a nice setup, but I really, I was a new guy, didn't really know what I was doing. So I was very lucky. I met a good friend of mine that's a brother of mine to this day. He's from Spaceman Seed Company. He's a local breeder here in Arizona who's doing some pretty big things, some good work. Uh, he's actually created a couple of the strains that I won these awards with, and he taught me a lot, man. He showed me all the tricks of the trade he'd learned over the 15 years he'd been cultivating marijuana, and man, I couldn't be more grateful because he definitely showed me a lot of cool stuff that it would have took me a lot of trial and error to learn. And yeah, besides that, I just took it from there, ran with it. I really have a huge passion for it, so it's not really work to me. It's just fun every time I'm in the garden.
That's good, dude. I'm glad. I'm glad to hear that, man. You still have a very bright light with you, man. Um, when you went online and you found the DGC, is this your first Dude Grows Cup?
Yes, it is. I've been a fan of the show for many years. Basically, since I started growing, I was going down YouTube and finding the weed channels, and I found you, I found Rob, I found Chris, and then you guys formed like Voltron and made From the Stash. It was pretty awesome, man. So definitely a big fan of that. But yeah, then I also found the Dude Grows cut or the Dude Grows show, I should say. I watched them for a lot of time, and they actually featured one of my grows on their show about, maybe 3 years ago. Grambo or not Grambo, Guru was still on there,
Mm-hmm.
and that was a very big moment for me to have my grow featured on the Dude Grows show at that time, because I had only been growing, not too long. So yeah, I've been a big fan of the show. I finally decided this was the year I was going to make it out there. I found a buddy of mine on Instagram that I've been following that had been making the trip up there. So he gave me the lowdown on the event. And yeah, I decided I was going to go this year. And I couldn't be more happy that I made that decision.
Man, dude, what's the best event you've ever been to?
Oh, Dude Grows Cup, hands
God,
down, hands down,
dude, I was
hands
hoping
down.
you were gonna say that. Is it the most? Is it the most people for me? 100% same thing, hands down. I've been to a few, probably not as many as you, but hands down, best cannabis event I've ever been to. Was it the biggest for you?
Yes, it was the biggest. Also, just the most excitement. Uh, just the most crowd participation. Like, don't get me wrong, this Arizona Garden Classic that we got cooking out here is something definitely that's special, but it's not as large of a scale as what they have going on out there. Uh, and it's just a different style event. The judges get to take the samples home for weeks, turn in their scorecards later. But the Dude Grows Cup, everyone comes there that day. They all smoke and sample all that in the same day, and then they all put their tokens for the ones they really enjoyed. So it's definitely a different type of event that's unique, and I think that could. I would love to see an event similar start over here in Arizona. I thought it was amazing.
Dude, 100%. Yeah, it was so unique in that way where it's like everyone that came was a judge. If you signed up,
Yeah.
you got a judge, you got the little chillum or whatever, the little pipe, and you kind of went
And it's
around.
open to the public. Anybody could go. It was open to the public. So long as you bought a ticket, you could go and be a judge. The events here, the judges are selected. You can't just go. It's a lot more exclusive. The way they did it over there, anybody who wants to go buy a ticket, come to the event and be a judge. So I think that that's pretty cool because, there's a lot of people out there that won't get selected to be a judge on a smaller scale, but would still love to go to an event like that and get to sample that much quality cannabis and cast their votes.
Yeah, I totally agree, man. And the fact that we still have communities, or sorry, events that are by the community for the community is pretty damn awesome. One of the biggest demises of High Times before it was purchased again was the fact that it just became so corporate. These events, these cannabis cups were just purchased by sponsors. They would put their weed in, they would sponsor the event and then win the event. And it's like we're losing all credibility in these events
Yeah.
if we cannot weed through the corporate shit to find the good stuff. So it's like that's why I love the Dude Grows. It was amazing for that reason.
Yeah, and I feel like, it can't really be rigged. The public are going to go there. They got their tokens. They're going to vote for what they really enjoyed. I was a nobody from another state, so it was everything's just completely anonymous, and it's just up to the smokers and what they really think.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, man. And it was a pleasure to be a part of. It's like you're right. It's like the public could come in and unless you're paying people to go in there and make a vote, which I think would be ludicrous because for why? You're getting an honest amount at 500 people. 500 people were there. I think that's a very nice sample size.
Yeah, it was packed. Yeah, it was definitely a full house. Everyone was walking around, sampling all that weed, having a good old time. It was quite the event, and I look forward to going back next year and many years to come.
Me too, dude. Me too. What does the future hold for Growfire Farms? We talked about the opportunity, but what are you planning? What do you see yourself in a few years for Growfire?
Well, I'm just going to continue working in the garden. I got some new genetics that I'm going to be testing. My buddy Spaceman has got a whole new line where he's working on some sour diesel work. So I've got quite the treasure trove to dig in through there. Hopefully, find some really special things. Uh, I'm gonna be helping him. He's moving out and getting some property out in the middle of kind of nowhere where we're going to be able to set up some greenhouses. He's got his caregivers over here in Arizona. They have a caregivers program where you can get grow rights for people who live a certain distance away, which is 25 miles per hour away from dispensaries. So you can get your plant count up much higher if you're able to get some patients that sign over to you, and then you have to provide meds to those patients. So yeah, I'm going to be helping him set up a nice little greenhouse when he gets his property going. We're going to be doing some nice outdoor runs and processing probably most of it into live hash rosin.
God, I love to hear that, man. I love to hear that. So it's like you were saying real quick. It's like you were talking about growing outside and it being so difficult. How are you pulling it off?
Well, just throughout the winter, like I said, I don't think we're going to
Oh,
really do
winter.
too much.
Yeah, yeah, right. When you
Yeah.
say winter, my concept of winter is much different than yours. I
Oh yeah,
now
for
get it.
sure. It's
Yeah,
totally different here.
yeah. Now I get it. I get it. So it's so you're gonna start. So okay. In the winter, so you don't have. What's the sunlight like? How many hours of do you use? Do you have supplemental lighting then in the greenhouse?
No, I mean, who knows exactly how my buddy's going to set up? I mean, I'm sure he would love to put some sort of supplemental lighting in there to run at times.
Sure.
But how I've been doing it the last few years is just outside with no supplemental lighting. Now, you wouldn't want to just plant a seed and stick it out there in November. But if you have a nice vegged out plant that you've been working on inside, and you chuck that thing out there at the end of November, it's going to be ready in February, and it'll be beautiful. It doesn't get down below 38 degrees here, so, and then a lot of times it's still 78 degrees during the daytime. So you can grow in those ranges. You're not going to get as much swell as you would get if you were in optimal range, but it still produces wonderful trichomes that you can extract into lovely hash rosin.
Oh, that's fantastic. Okay, so then so your sunlight is obviously you've got way more sunlight than I do, being on the bottom
Oh yeah, I
center
would
of the
say in the
treatment.
winter time it's probably like it probably gets light about 7 a.m. and probably gets
Oh,
dark around 6 p.m. So we got 11 hours sunlight probably in winter, which is enough.
yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's way more sunlight than we have. We typically don't have sunlight until about 8:30 in the morning, and then it's pitch black by 5 o'clock. So it's yeah, by 4 it's getting dark. So it's tough.
Yeah,
Oh,
you
yeah,
guys got some short days over there.
very short. Yeah, it gets actually depressingly short. We deal with the people up here deal with something called SADS, which is seasonal affective disorder, where like depression goes through the roof because it's cold, it's dark, it's a thing. It's really a thing. But yeah, when you said you grew in the winter, I didn't even fathom the fact that Arizona is 38 degrees still at its coldest.
Yeah, it doesn't really get too much colder than that. You might have a freak night here or there that it gets down a little lower, but usually that's about as low as you'll see all winter long. I mean, not I wouldn't say the whole state of Arizona. Where I live at in
Sure.
Phoenix, that's the case. If you go up north to Flagstaff or any of them ones up in the mountains, yeah, they got snow. It's freezing up there. I can drive 2 hours in the wintertime and be knee deep in snow here. It's quite crazy when you go up the mountains up into the elevation, how quick that you'll be into snow here.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, you're totally right. The wife, my son, and we drove through. I actually we went through the tip of Arizona, and man, your state is absolutely gorgeous. I love the canyons, the mountains, the desert. It's like Arizona has it all, man. It's got
It
desert
does,
from
except for the
snow.
beaches.
It's sorry, what?
Except for beaches. I mean, I guess if you count
Oh,
Lake Havasu, that's kind of our beach.
it's not very big.
Well, Lake Havasu is it's cool, but it's not like a beach like they got in LA on the Pacific or anything. But
Yeah.
yeah, Lake Havasu is pretty nice. It's just geez, over there in the summertime, it gets up to like 125 degrees sometimes, like crazy stuff.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
insane. That's insane. So I would imagine then that the lake is a pretty popular spot then, and there's a ton of people.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's definitely a happening spot. Now, from where I live at, it's like 3.5 hours.
Oh
But
my.
as far as Arizona goes, that's the closest you got to a beach.
Okay, that's insane, dude. Like okay, in Canada here, we have bodies of water that are so massive here. Like Lake Winnipeg, for example, is huge, and it's got massive beaches, and yeah, we wouldn't even fathom. Do you know how many people live in Arizona though?
Oh man, I couldn't tell you off top, but I know as far as Phoenix goes, we're one of the most populated metropolitan cities in the country. I would say we're like right around number five or something like
Okay.
that. Like we got a lot of people here, and it's pretty spread out. Takes up a lot of space. We got a lot of suburbs and stuff like that. For me to drive from one end of the valley to the other, could take almost an hour, or even longer if there's traffic.
Okay. Okay, Mrs. P.
Arizona has 7.5 million people.
7.5 million people. Arizona does.
Yeah.
Okay. And I bet you most of those are in Phoenix.
Phoenix probably has at least half of those, I would think.
Right, right. What's the next major city in Arizona?
I would say probably Tucson.
Tucson. Yeah, I should have known that. Tucson.
Yeah, probably Tucson.
It was funny because as like I don't know if it's funny, but as we drove down to the southern states, I started to pass through more vehicles. So it's like this is where I'm from, all the vehicles are named after all these places. Drove through Silverado, I drove through Tucson. I think I saw Palisade, no, not Palisade. Anyways, it's where all they name the Colorado. We have a truck up here called Colorado. The
Yeah,
Colorado.
yeah. I actually drive in Colorado myself.
Oh, get out. Okay, okay. Yeah. I just thought it was funny because like these are so exotic for names for me up here. Like to have here Colorado or Tucson or a Tucson, depending on who you ask.
And then they also got the Hyundai Santa Fe right there. That's New Mexico. They like naming cars from around here. Yeah.
Yeah, I've noticed that. I got nothing against it. They're good names. They're good names. Mark, dude, thank you so much for enlightening me on everything that you've been going through. If anyone wanted to reach you, get a hold of you, or just have any questions, where could they do that?
Definitely reach out on Instagram. It's Growfire Farms, all one word. I just started a backup page 2.0, so if you see that one is not an imposter. It's actually my backup. I haven't done much with it yet, but everyone told me I needed to start a backup page, so yeah, I just got that one going like probably a week ago.
Smart. Yeah, having a backup page is smart. I personally don't have one either, but if you started one now, you should totally try to keep it updated and posted, and because it's like it would be good to have. Do you have an email list yet?
No, I haven't really done. I mean, I have emails and stuff, but I
Of
don't really
course.
like give them out like that. But yeah, anybody who wanted to find me or reach out or ask any type of questions, yeah, just shoot me a DM on Instagram.
IG.
I'll basically reply to just about everyone, so long as you're not being ridiculous or anything. But yeah, I'm always available for anybody who wants to reach out.
Dude, I can appreciate that, man. Thank you so much for sitting down with me this evening. It's been an absolute pleasure, dude. It was awesome to be able to sit and chill for what brief moment it was in Colorado, and I look forward to doing it again because I got a feeling, dude, that our paths are definitely going to cross again, and we're gonna be chit chatting in the near
But heck
future.
yeah, I'm gonna be there next year. So if you're gonna be there next year, we definitely gonna link up and burn a couple.
I am definitely gonna be there next year, man, and I'm so glad I went this year because this dude was my first year, and I had the time of my life. So I will definitely be there again. So I'm glad to hear you're going, man, and you're gonna compete.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm gonna strategize and try to find something really special and unique to take with me next year. And good thing I got a decent amount of time to work on it.
You're yeah, you got yeah in counting 11 months. Hope you're ready. Hope you're ready.
And what I like about it is you could just bring it to the event with you. You know, a lot of these other events, you got to turn it in a month or two before the event so they can give it to the judges. So yeah, you got a lot more time with this one. You just show up to the event with it.
That's it. Yeah, it's so unique, man. It's so unique, and I'm glad I'm being held by great guys because the dude grows, Scotty, Grambo, dude, like they're all Brett. They're incredible guys. I'm glad to see they're finding success, and I wish them nothing but lucky or nothing but greatness as well. So, I'm glad we had the opportunity to meet, man. I'm glad we had the opportunity to chat, and I can't wait to do it again.
Heck yeah, I appreciate you having me on, Pigeons. It's been a thrill.
Pleasure, my friend. Thank you so much for being here. I encourage everyone to go and check out Mark and Growfire Farms because man, you won't be disappointed. Great guy and a great place to be. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Pigeons. Have a good one, bud.
You too, man. Thank you. Cheers.